Well, hello there. It's Ronnie Doss. Welcome to the Like a Doss podcast. Today we're going to jump right in, and I'm going to discuss a topic that comes up for so many people that I hear about all the time. I think a lot of times it's because of the circles that I'm in and the places that I get invited to speak. But let me preface this whole conversation with letting you know that I've met people from many different countries, hundreds of thousands of people that I have done trainings in front of now, spoken in front of, and I can tell you that everybody has certain beliefs that they have locked onto. I believe power comes from having an open mind. I believe that faith comes from being willing to step into an unknown, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. Doing some things that cause us to feel a bit uncomfortable is what faith is about. I believe that faith is about courage. I believe it's about boldness. I believe it's about being willing to step into something and getting off of our rear ends and doing something different than what our comfort addiction may be screaming for us to do. You know, everybody's got a big screen TV. Everybody wants to sit around and watch the news and watch sports and watch all these different dramas and soap operas and shows. But I'm telling you, the world around us needs us to create solutions. Now, does that mean that we can't sit around and enjoy ourselves and watch sporting events and do all that? Absolutely not. Those things are awesome. However, you've got to also ask yourself, is your faith being displayed every single day by who it is you're willing to serve and what it is that you are willing to do? Because if it is not, and you aren't doing anything new and stretching outside of comfort, you don't have faith. You have an addiction, and you can become addicted to anything. You can become addicted to a religious belief, a political view. You can become addicted to a caffeine or a certain kind of drug. You can become addicted. And a lot of times addictions are the things that lock people into certain patterns and certain behaviors that they never get out of. And if you believe that faith is about staying comfortable all the time, then I don't believe you understand what faith is really about. Now, some people will say this, and what I have learned is people think that their faith is about how they've changed their languaging to say certain words at certain times and be able to quote certain scriptures or certain phrases, and that gets them into the in crowd. But that's not what I believe at all, because I've been around enough people that know that languaging, they know how to talk, but their walk, what they do on a day-to-day basis is whack. It's not real. They have no courage. They have no boldness. They're not doing anything differently than what everybody else is doing. So their faith is more of a crutch than it is a tool. And so as I get a little passionate about this, it's because so many people use what they call faith as a cop-out, as a waiting, as a permission to sit around and be lazy and to procrastinate on the thing that they already know that they should do. Now, am I saying that you need to be rash in your decisions and make decisions quickly without praying about them or getting quiet about them? No. But if you're waiting on the stars to align and something to be perfect before you're willing to jump in, then you're going to be waiting your whole life. Instead of waiting on opportunities, I would challenge you to use your faith to create some. Get out there and stir it up. Somebody said to me once that risk is what keeps the soil fertile. And if you want good things to grow, you've got to keep the soil stirred up, and you use risk to do that. Put yourself out there. Put a demand on God to show up in some way, doing something that you couldn't do on your own by yourself and just in your own power. Be willing to step out and say, hey, I'm going to put a demand on the universe that God created to show itself strong and reveal the resources that are there that I say I believe are there, but I really don't start to activate or have show up in my life because, well, I'm just staying comfortable. It's such a cop-out. No one that ever gets to any level of significance and success didn't take risk. They didn't have some faith in something. And maybe their faith doesn't sound the way you think your faith is supposed to sound and the way somebody else's faith is supposed to sound. And that if somebody doesn't talk like you or attend the exact same church as you, that they're out and that there's no way God loves them or cares about them. It's such a bunch of crap. It is. And it's time that you and I just take ownership of our life, the gift that we've been given called time, and be the very best version of ourselves that we can be so that we can make an impact on a world that is broken, that is hurting, that there are so many problems in and challenges in. It's time for you and I to do the work. Quite simply, it's time for us to become the solutions to the world's problems. Many of us are waiting on God to solve the problems that God has given us the tools to solve ourselves. Hunger in this world is a solvable problem. People in our communities that are below the poverty line, that are hungry at the end of the day, that have no homes, that have no shelter, we are the solutions to that by doing the work and using our resources to support that. You see, it's really interesting how people will say, well, I don't think money's that important. But if you believe money's not important, you're being selfish, because then all you're worried about is your comfort, your bills, your home, your cars, what you have. But when you start to realize that there are people in need that have gone through certain tragedies and traumas and difficulties that maybe you haven't, that you may never have to deal with, but until you have some resources and a way to support them other than just saying, yeah, I'll pray for you, which is awesome. Yes, pray for people, but also do something that causes you to have to give the best of you and to rely on something bigger than what you see in your life with your natural eyes. Faith is about something so much bigger. My job, my role, is to take what I believe, the good news, and put it in places where people aren't typically going to hear it. When I go to certain organizations and certain companies, there's certain languaging and phrases that I can't say. But what I decide when I go in there is to bring heart and love and compassion to those people. And if they want to start following me on social media or finding out what my life is really about, that they'll see that and they'll say, wow, this person's living a life that seems to be working. They have some good fruit in their life. And if you ask me, I think there's a scripture where Jesus said, you know them by their fruit, meaning what it is that they produce, and the fruit of the Spirit being love, joy, compassion, peace. And I believe we're called to be peacemakers. Not peacekeepers, not people that just say anything to keep the peace, but peacemakers. And that means we'll go out and fight the good fight in areas where other people aren't willing to fight, to bring the peace, to bring the love, to bring the joy, to bring the compassion, and to bring the solution that this world needs. This world needs you. This world needs me. This world needs us to stir up our own faith and then step out boldly, confidently, and courageously into a level that is going to require our comfort to dissolve, our addiction to comfort to go away. And the only way that happens is by us to take action. You see, action dissolves fear. You can't just sit around and talk yourself out of fear. You've got to face the thing that you're fearing and move towards it. The quote that I use so many times is where it says that life is like living in a jungle. If you don't face your fears, you'll wind up running forever. And I'm not willing to run. I'm not going to run from my fears. I'm going to run towards what it is that I believe my purpose in this life really is. And yes, it's scary. Yes, it takes effort. Yes, I have to be courageous. Yes, I have to take risks. But yes, I have to be willing to fail. But that's what faith is all about. It's being willing to mess it up and know that you're forgiven, that you're loved, and that you have enough to get back after it again and again. Anyone who's created success on this planet has taken risks, and they have failed. So stop trying to use your faith as something where you appear like you have it all figured out and that you are right and that you are so entitled to a certain type of life. You are not. Be willing to get your fingers dirty because the miracles are in the dirt. Go out and do the digging. Get past the comfort zone. Get past the old entitlement. Get past the idea that if you speak a certain way, that makes everything okay and that talk can move the world forward. Talk doesn't move the world forward. Action does. Solutions do. Talk is cheap and it's getting cheaper. Go on social media. You'll see people talking, having opinions about everything. But what I have learned in my work of over the past decade is that everybody has opinions, but very few people have great results. And to have great results, I believe you've got to have great faith and you've got to walk that faith out on a day-to-day basis. This world needs you. This world needs me. And it's up to us to see that there are challenges and people dealing with things that we may not ever have to deal with. But we've got to be solution. We've got to do the work. We've got to stir ourselves up daily. Forget about our past. Not worry about what we did before, but get our head right, get our heart right, and go out and operate with faith every single day. You're not going to be perfect at it, but you can hold yourself to a higher standard. And if you're willing to do that, you'll make an impact on this planet that nobody can take away, that nobody can erase, that future generations will be able to benefit from because you and I did the work. That's what faith is all about to me. So let's do the work, take some risks, set some big goals, and get after it. This is Ronnie Doss. Thanks for being on here with me today. Thanks for letting me share my heart. If you'd like some more of our resources, you can visit dossteam.com. You can go to ronniedoss.com. We got video membership, subscriptions there. We've got audio resources that we'd love to share with you. So thanks so much again for being here. I look forward to talking to you again very soon. Take care.